Alrighty, and as we've been talking about, your financial breakthrough is guaranteed. Again, this is so powerful. Your financial breakthrough is guaranteed, and we've been talking about for these different things. And so we covered so many powerful principles. And so I want to pick up here. And again, your financial breakthrough is guaranteed. And we say almost guaranteed because, again, I love what the Word of God says, as a matter of fact. Hebrews, I think it's 4:12. But anyway, one of my favorite passages because it's just so powerful when you think about the power. See, so many people think the power is in information, but the real power is in the implementation. So Hebrews 4:2 says, "For unto us was the gospel, the good news, something that makes a difference, something that makes a change, right? So for unto us was the gospel preached as well as unto them." Now watch this. But, the word but cancels out, right? So, but the word preached did not profit them, being mixed with faith in them that heard it. In other words, he was saying the same thing that we heard that changed our life, that transformed us. The same thing didn't do a thing for them. Why? And here's the key. It didn't do a thing for them because they didn't do a thing with it. Oh man, come on. Oh my goodness, I got to write that one down. I said, listen, it didn't do a thing for them because they weren't willing to do a thing with it, right? So again, my friend, it's to the fact that, again, based on Hebrews 4:2, you can have this powerful principle. You can have this powerful life transforming power word, message, system, plan, whatever you want to call it. But if you don't do anything with it, it won't do anything for you. So nothing works, as often say, until you do. So we've been covering these principles, my friend, and I want you to understand. Think about this. I was just meditating on this earlier on my breakthrough walk. The Israelites, God bought them out of Egypt, which is a picture of the world, slavery, the world. And what was it all about? It was about taking them into the what? The promised land, the land flowing with milk and honey. The land that when they sent the spies in to check out the land that they were going to get, that God had promised to them, said it's already yours. It was so powerful and so that, again, I always talk about the difference between risk versus reward. The employee mindset focuses so much on the risk, they lose sight of the reward. The entrepreneur, the breakthroughpreneur, the kingdompreneur, we focus so much on the reward, we're willing to deal with the risk. Well, it was so abundant that 10 said that, well, I don't know. Don't get me wrong, this land is so amazing, but there's some big old bully giants over there. And it was only Joshua and Caleb to say, yeah, but guess what? We're well able to overcome them. Because why? God promised us this. But what happened? Because of the 10 that gave the false or bad report, the 10 that gave the fear report versus the 2 that gave the faith report. The fear report, there's giants in the land. The faith report, we got to overcome those giants. The fear report, but we're but grasshoppers in their eyes. The faith report, and God can use anything to do and accomplish anything he wants. It's our land and we're going to get it. Is this making sense to anybody other than me? I wish folks enjoyed my teaching as much as I enjoyed teaching it, okay? So here we go. So again, your financial breakthrough or breakdown is guaranteed. Again, if you ignore the principles, you're going to have a breakdown. If you implement the principles, you're going to have a breakthrough. And so let's really delve into that. And let's go. Here we go here. Now, we said when you start, get this now, when you no, let me just get right to this. When you oh my goodness, when you get addicted to implementation versus just being addicted to information. Ooh, come on now. See, your financial breakthrough is guaranteed when you get as addicted to implementation as you are to information. See, we live in a day and age where I said it before, I'm gonna say it again just because I want to hear myself say it because it's so powerful. And sometimes we got to hear something, 7 times, 7 different ways, or from 7 different people before we get it. So let me say it the 7th time for some of you. Well, watch this. Watch this. You got to understand. Now, just man, that train of thought. Okay, where's it at? Let me bring it back, Holy Ghost. Bring it back to me. Bring it back to me. Um, and here it is. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. We live in a day and age where people seem to be addicted to information, but allergic to implementation. Let me say that again. Let me slow down. I think I said it too fast. I mean, information is everywhere. I mean, man, we got information overload these days, and it seems like people are addicted to information. And quite frankly, it seems like they're more addicted to fake and false and negative information, right? But people seem to be addicted to information, but yet they seem to be allergic to implementation. See, I'm all for, like somebody said, note takers are money makers, but Dr. Breakthrough, I had to add, yeah, but action takers are bigger money makers. So when I hear information and I don't implement it, then the opposite of that information is going to be true for me because it's not doing me any good. But when I implement the information, now, my friend, I go beyond the inspiration. I get the breakthrough, right? So that's what we want. So again, your financial breakthrough. Now, your breakdown is guaranteed if you're just going to be addicted to the information. Your breakthrough is guaranteed when you get as addicted to implementation, and that's what I want for you. And when we say implementation, we're talking mastery. See, mastery equals money. When you learn to master, not just hear something, not just be aware of something, not just be able to quote something, but you actually live it. Remember, I said this, I said it so many times. You got to learn to read the book until you become the book. Come on, somebody. You got to learn to listen to a sermon until you become the sermon. You got to listen to the truth until you become the truth. You implement, you possess that, you live that. So again, my friend, most people fail for giving up on what they want most for what they want now. See, they're not willing to implement some discipline. They're not willing to implement some, you know what I mean? So again, most people fail because they give up on what they want most for what they want now. They lose sight of what they want most because they're so attracted to what is happening now. Okay, your financial breakthrough or breakdown is guaranteed. And here's where I really wanted to hit today. Are you ready? When you learn to beat the financial bullies in your brain. Come on, somebody. I said, when you learn to beat the financial bullies in your brain. See, write this down. Breakthroughs occur when you beat the bullies in your brain. See, you talking about a breakthrough? Listen, it's guaranteed when you learn to beat the bullies in your brain. And here's what most people understand. We've got these limiting beliefs. Remember, I showed you before, right in the middle word beliefs. I don't know if I have it written down there somewhere, but right in the middle word beliefs is a 3-letter word, okay, called a lie. Oh, look at there. There we go. So right in the middle word beliefs, that 3-letter word is a lie, right? And so we got to exchange Jeremiah 7:8, you trust in lying words, which cannot profit, which means the opposite is true. The truth will profit you. So we got to learn to exchange our limiting beliefs. This is what I've been doing ever since I came to Christ, giving and exchanging my limiting beliefs for God's liberating beliefs. Come on now. Because when I exchange my limiting beliefs for God's liberating beliefs, now I can experience limitless success. Ephesians 3:20, unto him that's able to do exceeding abundantly above all you can ask or think. I mean, listen, Ron, you couldn't even imagine, you can't even, no matter what you think, the greatest thing you can think, God says, that's nothing compared to what I want to do and can do in and through your life. So the financial, again, your breakthrough can be guaranteed when you beat the financial bullies in your brain. You got to exchange those limiting beliefs for liberating beliefs. The financial bullies in your brain, the excuses, the low esteem, the doubt, the undervaluing yourself and what you have to offer, or undervaluing your gifts, that procrastination, that perfectionism, that imposter syndrome, right? Bill Gates is not one of my favorite people, but one of the things is though, is Microsoft many years ago, if he'd have done like most people and said, I got to wait for it to be perfect, he'd have never became a billionaire. He became a billionaire launching something that was imperfect, but he's constantly updating, constantly upgrading. Listen, even the phone you're on, if you're watching this by phone, or the computer, there's constantly updates, right? We got to constantly get these updates, right? And so why don't we think we need to do that with our brain? Why don't we think we need to do that with our mind, my friend? And that's why, my newest book, that's out, that I mean, you have no idea how many decades I've worked on this, but I'm telling you, my friend, it's the thing that will change people's lives in so many areas of their life. And I'm telling you, it's just so. Let me. I got a little trailer, if you don't mind. Let me indulge me to be able to play that, and then we'll come back with some more training.
Your biggest fight isn't in the cage, it's in your mind. Fear, doubt, procrastination. The bullies inside your head, waiting to knock you down.
All righty. And so mentalselfdefense.org, that's my newest book. Make sure you scan there to get, it's an ebook, but also you get the audio book. But I am telling you, my friend, I don't know of anything that I've ever put out, produced, that has potential to produce more breakthroughs. Because again, as some of you know my story, as a 6-year-old boy, I was beaten, tarred, and feathered by a teenage gang. So those bullies, I learned self-defense so I could defend myself. I kept getting bullied all the time, right, and beat up all the time. And so I got tired of that. Remember, I said I had a Popeye moment. I've stands all I can stand, and I can't stand no more, right? And my mom wanted a free month of karate lessons. I went with her and watched. They were kicking, chopping, screaming, hollering. Of course, mama, free was good, but when you're serious, you're willing to invest a little something, right? And mama started paying and getting better and better. And one day she got so good, her and her boyfriend got in a fight and she knocked him out. So when I saw my 5-for-1 mom knock out a 6-for-1 guy, I said, I don't know what this karate stuff is, but this is what I need, right? And guess what, my friend? So I learned martial arts. But here's what I found out. And they told me this. They said, now, we can't teach you self-defense without first teaching you self-discipline. I was like, no, I just want to learn how to fight. I just want to learn how to defend myself. I said, no. They said, if you learn self-defense without learning self-discipline, you'll be like an uncontrollable weapon, and you'll harm not just others, but you'll harm yourself. And so we won't teach you self-defense unless you learn self-discipline. We got to teach that also. I'm like, okay, whatever the self-discipline thing is, I don't care about it, don't want it, but if I got to have that to get to self-defense, I'll get it. And the self-discipline was the thing that changed my life more than anything else. Well, as I got older, I found out then the trauma that I experienced from being beaten, tarred, and feathered by that teenage gang when I was a 6-year-old boy, that was very traumatic. I mean, they left me out in the middle of the field to die. Very traumatic. But I can't emphasize to you, it's not 1/1000th of traumatic of what the bullies in my brain started doing to me. And so just like I had to learn self-defense to protect myself against these physical outside bullies, I needed even more mental self-defense to defend myself against these mental bullies that was on the inside. The African proverb said, if there's no enemy within, the enemy without can do you no harm. Well, the enemy within my brain, those bullies within my brain were doing me so much harm. And I'm telling you, there's so many relationships. Okay, I hear my wife always say, baby, just breathe. I gotta breathe. I'm getting amped up here. But there's so many relationships that are destroyed that could have been flourishing. But what happened? The bullies in the brain. The bullies in the brain affected you and I. The bullies in the brain self-sabotage and cause that relationship. It's the bullies in our brain. And I'm convinced, my friend, people think it's terrible what I went through. That's nothing compared to what many of you are going through and many of you will go through if you don't learn mental self-defense. I spoke this last weekend in Atlanta. Alicia Little and her sister Loretta. I call them the Little Sisters to make a big difference. And Alicia is known as the AI Queen. And so they had me speak at their event. They had 3,200 people, over 1,500 live, and another 1,700 or more online watching. But there were so many people after they saw me break some stuff and break the bricks and with things written on them, and the boards and they're like, "Man, do you have a class? Can you teach me?" I can't tell you how many people, millions and millions of people that I've spoken to, and so many of them want me to teach them martial arts because after they see what. But I'm like, what's so 10 times more important than learning the martial arts, physical martial arts, is learning mental martial arts. I said, if anything, let me become your mental mentor, your mental sensei. Japanese word for teacher, instructor is sensei, and to teach you how I have been defeating these bullies. And guess what, my friend? But there's oftentimes they keep trying to crop back up, and so that's why I wrote that powerful ebook. But also, my friend, you'll get the audio version. There's a bunch of bonuses, and so you can go. It's the same thing. The MMAbook.com. The MMA book. Again, many people think of MMA stands for mixed martial arts, but to me, it's mental martial arts. A couple of my sons live in the area, about an hour away in Fort Worth, and so we're going to a live MMA event tonight, right? But I'm convinced everybody, listen, everybody needs the MMA mixed martial arts is one thing, but mental martial arts, right? How to turn your greatest enemy into your greatest ally, right? See, one of your greatest enemy that you don't know is your undisciplined or subconscious mind. And that's the thing that leads to the self-sabotage. That's the thing that causes you, my friend, not to become a better version. That's the thing that's hindering you from becoming a better version of yourself. Because see, your brain on one hand is trying to protect you, but it's oftentimes hindering you from breaking out of your comfort zone to be a better version of yourself. And again, if we have to keep updating our phones and keep updating our computers and why aren't we updating our minds? And again, I'm totally against brainwashing is totally wicked and wrong. But like I said, that's wrong. But our brains have been dirty, then they do need to be washed. So I'm not for brainwashing, but I'm for having our brain washed. And Romans 12:2 says, but that we're transformed by the renewing of our minds. Why would our minds need to be renewed unless they have been dirtied and they're constantly being dirtied, right? And so even if I don't even go outside and exercise, I still have to take a shower and why? Because still your body. And so our bodies, why is it when our bodies, we're willing to clean our bodies, my friend, but we're not understanding the power of cleansing our minds and defending ourselves from those negative, pessimistic, self-sabotaging thoughts. Am I tracking with anybody, or am I only want to see this? So I'm saying, out of all the people, my friend, that want to learn self-defense, right, and martial arts, no. I'm wanting to raise a generation of people because, again, even in the martial arts, we learn, and again, most people think a black belt is master. No, black belt really means you're now a real student, right? And then the higher degrees, and of course, I've been blessed to be one of just 100 or two 10th degree black belts in the world. And when I started, I didn't even know there was such a thing. But what I'm saying is this, though. What I'm saying is this. The higher you go in the martial arts, the more mental it is. So why not start there? So I'm going to teach. Matter of fact, I got a whole system I've developed that I'm going to teach people how to get their black belt in what I call mental martial arts, just like the physical arts where people get white belt, yellow belt, green, brown. No, mental martial arts. Because see, the most successful, powerful people in the world, they may not have known it, but they learned mental martial arts. They learned how to take this powerful computer, and instead of allowing it to be, because again, most of our computers have been programmed negatively, and a lot of beliefs, like I said, those things based on lies came from people we love and people we respected and people we cared for. And so now we got what's called, we built a fortress around the lies that they told us which the scripture calls it. Here's what it says: the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. A stronghold is literally a lie that we built a fortress around to try to protect it. Because see, if we were to say it was is a lie, then that means we got to do something about it. We got to change it. And that would mean that, in some cases, like we're being disloyal to people that loved us and people that we really care about, people that we really respect. But the greatest book ever written, Job 36:5, I think it said, great men are not always wise. See, one of the greatest deception I ever went through in my life was scripture in Psalm 1, it says, blessed is the man who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth the way of sinners, nor sitteth the seat of scornful. Now watch this. I always thought ungodly counsel came from ungodly people. Watch this now. But the worst and deceiving ungodly counsel I ever received came from some of the most godly people who had embraced an ungodly idea and masked it and cloaked it. And because it came from somebody that was godly, I accepted it. It didn't mess me up. So they made me think again, the closer I was to being broke, the closer I could be to God. No, 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 no. Again, the Israelites in slavery, that's a picture. Listen, that's a picture of the world. And when the Israelites were supposed to come out of Egypt, out of slavery, and go into the promised land. And the promised land, that land flowing with milk and honey. The promised land, the land of more than enough. The promised land, the land where, like the psalmist, the 23rd Psalm, even that, if we think about it, verse 1, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I'm not going to be in lack. I'm not going to slack. I'm going to have more than I need. Matter of fact, he goes down and says, my cup runneth over. So how is it that seems like, again, my friend, these people, again, in the church, they taught me well about the grace of God and salvation and all that, but they taught me so wrong about money and abundance, and made me so afraid that this money would mess me up. No, it's the priority that you put on money that'll mess you up. As long as you keep kingdom, God says, seek first and I'll give you all these things. Anyway, so your financial breakthrough though, but again, you got to go through and you got this mental self-defense. You got to learn to defend yourself. That thing in your mind that tries to tell you, oh, I remember I was 30 years of age, car paid for, house paid for, motorhome paid for, and $100,000 in the bank. And it was way back in 1990. So $100,000 in the bank back then was a lot of money. Anyway, and I got scared. And listen to this, because of what I was taught, I got scared. See, I've been blessed a little too much, right? I'm like, I'm gonna fall into temptation or something, man. So I start giving stuff away, just buying people vehicles and buying just so I can get, because I was scared. Now watch this. I didn't do it out of faith. I didn't do it. I was scared. I was scared that the money was gonna mess me up. I was scared that my abundance was gonna take me away from God. Wait a minute. He's the one that gave. But anyway, I was scared. And so I'm giving all this stuff away. And a couple years later, I'm totally broke. Now, asset rich, right? Assets that were paid for and everything, but cash broke, I should say. Cash broke, right? And I'm like, Lord, this doesn't make sense. Like all this giving, and I didn't hear audible voice, but it was like the Lord spoke to me and said, you gave out of fear. So some of the seed you cast, you was throwing it by the wayside, you was throwing it on stony ground, and you was throwing it on stony ground and thorny ground. And what I said is you need to put it in good ground. Where I lead and instruct is always good ground, 30-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold. But you ain't getting 30, 60, or 100-fold if you cast it by the wayside or stony ground. And I was like, wow. Is this touching anybody other than me? I mean, I'm just getting real with y'all. And I'm telling you, my friend, I'm telling you, it was a belief, a lie that I had that self-sabotaged me. And that's why, again, your financial breakthrough, my friend, you got to learn to beat those financial bullies in the brain. And it's like I told you, like a thermostat versus a thermometer. A thermometer just tells you the temperature. A thermostat dictates the temperature. And our financial thermostats have been set way too low. Listen, Genesis 13:2, and Abraham wasn't just rich, he was very rich. Watch this, but not just very rich, rich in cattle and silver and gold, multiple streams of very richness, if there is such a word. Right. Proverbs 10:22, the blessing of the Lord maketh rich and it addeth no sorrow with it. But again, let's get back to this. God wanted his people. And by the way, they didn't want to be in slavery. And they cried for years, God, deliver us. He says, okay, I'm going to send you into this promised land. This, and you know what? Because of them believing the fear instead of by faith, the 10 on fear said, no, we can't. And the 2 by faith said, yes, we can. And because of their lack of faith in believing that all this abundance could be theirs, and whatever barrier they had to break through to get it, they could get it. See, the 2 said, we'll break through any barrier that gets in our way. The 10 said, the barrier is too big. Oh, no, we could do this. The financial bullies on your brain. And the people, it was easier to listen to the fear report than the faith report. And so for about 40 years, they marched around, taking a long way in the wilderness. Are you listening to me? Until all those old doubters, the ones that gave into the let the financial bullies beat them out of their promised land. Stop letting the financial bullies beat you out of your blessing. Oh, come on. Somebody put that in the chat right there. Put that one in the chat. Stop allowing, man, oh my goodness. Thank you, Holy Ghost. Stop allowing the financial bullies to beat you out of your blessings. Bible says more blessed to give than to receive, but you can't give from an empty wagon. And I'm telling you, my friend, I am telling you, you have to understand this, and that is principles will work for everyone who works them, but they won't work if you don't work them. And if you won't work them, if you subconsciously are being bullied and you've been trained subconsciously, that may be too much for you. And it may get you, it may get you off track. Man, I'm talking right now. And I'm telling you, my friend, I'm thinking about, I told the story before of this bird in the cage. And a lady, she got a key, and she, you know what? I want to see if I can find that. And she opened the cage. Okay. Now this is what's crazy. Think about this now. This bird is in a cage. Uh-oh. Here we go. Okay. So the bird's in the cage, and the bird obviously wants out. So what does the lady do? Well, let me show you here. I just found it. But I want you, when you see this, I want you to understand this is a picture to some degree of me. It may be to you, I don't know, but I know for me, and I had to rewrite the script, be transformed by the renewing of my mind. So the cage is open. You can fly out anytime you want. Why are you still in there? She's speaking to the bird when she has the key in her hand and the cage is open. And the bird says, the cage is all I know. And under the cage is the word comfort zone. In other words, the bird is saying, I get that I can be free, but you know what? All I know is this cage. I don't want to get out of here. And what's happened is we have been programmed that all we know is lack. And all we know is just having enough to get by. And God says, here, I got the key. I'm opening up, and I'm giving Dr. Breakthrough some of the keys. And we're sitting there like, yeah, but no, I don't feel comfortable. That whole Texas coin cryptocurrency thing, I've tried stuff kind of like this before, and it just kind of didn't work. I mean, you're allowing the financial bullies to beat you out of your blessings. Stop. Enough is enough. It's time to draw a line in the sand and say, you know what, my friend? I'm breaking through to my financial abundance. I'm going into my financial promised land now. And of course, during slavery days, they were slick. This is where this whole doctrine came from. And it was like, that promised land is like, that's a picture of you when you get to heaven. No, it's not. Jesus said, as in heaven, so on earth. The message of the kingdom is now, right now. There's no man that's left houses and brethren and so forth. He said, I'll give him 100-fold now in this generation. Now he said, with persecution. You're going to have some persecution. There's going to be some giants, right? I mean, come on now, David, before you get the king's daughter, and before you get the great riches, and before you can never pay taxes again, you got to kill that big old bully Goliath. Before the women are going to sing, Saul has slain his thousands, but David's of tens of thousands. You won't have to kill that big old bully Goliath. Now, wait a minute, but God trained you, though. You killed a lion, you killed a bear, so through his power, you can do this too. But if he'd allowed those bullies to talk him, Saul was the king, head and shoulders above the rest. If anybody, he should have fought, but Saul was scared and everybody else. And so because they're scared, they're going to try. Well, wait a minute now. He's been a champion ever since his youth. What are you going to do? David said, I guess I'm going to do like he did. He had to become a champion in his youth. That means he had to take out a champion. I'm about to take him out. I'm going to be a champion from my youth now. Chief, faith says, I'm not denying there's an obstacle. I'm not denying there's a barrier. Faith says, but I've been equipped by God to break through the barriers. See, any barrier that God did not set, it was made to be broken. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm telling you, these financial governors, this thermostat that's been set on just enough to get by. I just wanted, me and mine. And no, man, a bird flies as high as it can. A fish swims as much as it can. And I believe a kingdom person ought to make as much as they can, because a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And house and riches are the inheritance of fathers. House and riches. That's it. So we end up, are we going to leave a legacy or are we going to leave lack? Hello now. Are we leaving it with debt? Or are we going to lead our children to destiny? Right? And so I'm telling you, we've got to, you really care about your children, then you get your financial breakthrough for your children, your grandchildren, your legacy. But also, my friend, God says, I want you now in this time to receive 100-fold. You have to wait till you get to heaven in this time. So whatever barrier, whatever giant, I posted, I think the other day, the giant in front of you, whatever financial giant, a giant in front of you is but a midget, Michelle, compared to the God who's for you. Psalm 56:9, when I cry unto thee, then shall my enemies turn their back. This I know, for God is for me. I said, the giant in front of you is but a midget compared to the God who's for you, but also Stuart, the God who's in you. 1 John 4:4, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. So we're not denying the giant. I was talking to somebody this morning. I had a Texacoin meeting, invited them down. They came 4 hours, 4 hours. Some folks live in that same town. Now, I actually drove because I love driving. I get a lot of thoughts, and a lot of the trainings, even some of the stuff I'm saying now, came from when I was driving, 22-hour drive. But anyway, but I still, like a 16-year-old kid, just got my license. I love to drive. And it's very peaceful for me. And again, I buy so much stuff that I don't have time to listen to, and that's my time. See, I got a couple extra doctor's degrees in my car university, my automobile university, because I turned my car into a university when I'm driving. But anyway, watch this. And so I said, listen, you need to hear this, blah, blah, blah. So she was telling me this morning how she had this situation that came up, and God miraculously, because again, you got to start with crypto. She looked inside one of her wallets she didn't even realize and know, and it was $18,000 sitting there. Now, Stuart tells a story about, the couch. They had to move the couch, and at $500 he lost, and that was a $500. Imagine not even knowing you had 18,800, something like that, or something. And so she called, she's like, oh my goodness. And so obviously she has the money now to get started with. But that's another thing I tell people. It's like, money is not your issue. Money is not the situation. It's what's in here. And so again, your financial breakthrough is guaranteed when you learn to operate in faith, but your breakdown is guaranteed when you operate in fear. And so you got to beat these bullies, the financial bullies in the brain. Okay. Gotta. Oh my goodness. Is it time already? I've been, okay. Yeah, the cage is open. Cage is open. And as a matter of fact, if the cage wasn't open, you got the key. Right? The cage is what you feel comfortable with. But again, I'm telling you, you can develop a new comfort zone, that breakthrough zone, and that's what I want for you. So again, your financial breakthrough breakdowns guaranteed. Okay, one last one. Okay, let's have time. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Let me throw I don't know. Okay, yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, so is when you understand that the difference, get this now, when you realize or understand and comprehend that frustration is on the road to fruitfulness. So you don't have to stay there. Again, your financial breakthrough is guaranteed if you implement and understand this, but you break down. So when you understand and comprehend what frustration is on the road to fruitfulness, so you don't have to stay there. I don't know how many people, they live in a state of frustration like their whole lives. It's like, what's wrong? Frustration is on the road to fruitfulness. You don't have to stay there. So that means you just got to go. So let me give you three quick things, and that's a whole other training I'm going to, but I'll just throw this at you real quick because again, your financial break. See, if you don't understand this, you'll have a financial breakdown because on your way to being fruitful, on your way to having abundance, on your way to going from lack to abundance, you're always going to have a time of being frustrated, right? And that place of frustration, though, is seeing if you're going to be ready and able to handle the fruitfulness. So if you can't last through the frustration, hello, somebody. So here it is. So there's a thin line between frustration and fruitfulness. And three things usually determine the difference and like unlocking the cage from frustration to fruitfulness, right? First of all, is sometimes is a tweak. I mean, the big difference between being in frustration versus fruitfulness is just a little tweak. Sometimes you're doing the right thing, but it's just a little tweak, just a little tweak. Sometimes it's more training. So it's either tweak, it's either training, and that's why I do these trainings, right? So we want to train. So sometimes it's a tweak. We're doing the right thing. It's just a little adjustment, a little shift, a little, but then sometimes we need more training. And then number three, the test of time. The test of time. See, do you understand that the only difference between a piece of coal and a diamond is simply the result of a piece of coal that has handled the pressure well, the frustration, and it's endured the test of time. That's it. That's it. So watch this. So if you're in a place of financial frustration, that's on the road to fruitfulness. So don't get frustrated, but don't stay there. Say, look, I'm on the road. This is part of the past. Like, people think failure and success are opposites. No, failure is a very integral part of success. As a matter of fact, failure lays the foundation for true and lasting success. Every successful person knows that. So they learn through those. So watch this. So you got to understand your financial breakthrough can be guaranteed if you comprehend that frustration is on the road to fruitfulness. So you don't have to stay there. So you just need to tweak it. There's a little tweak that's needed, more training, or just enduring the test of time. An acorn versus an oak tree. What's the difference? Well, it's got to be the acorn has to be planted, buried in the ground, in the darkness. It's got to be buried. Then the breakthrough starts, cracks open, right? But eventually, this beautiful oak tree. But nobody wants the darkness. Nobody wants the dampness. Nobody wants all that. The difference between a caterpillar and a butterfly is the cocooning process, the dark place, the lonely place, the seemingly impossible to get out of place, and all the struggles, the frustration. But that's okay, little caterpillar, because again, sometimes it's just a time. After you go through enough struggle, you push enough, the wings are formed, and you'll be able to pop out of there a beautiful butterfly. So, close. Your time as a financial caterpillar has expired. Your financial wings are now ready. It's time to fly. And I'd love to be your financial sensei, your mental mentor, your mental sensei that helped guide you, my friend. So if you haven't gotten and taken advantage of the book, get that book. I believe there's going to be, out of all the powerful testimonials I hear from the different things that I teach on that God's entrusted in me to get through me, because again, every good gift, every perfect gift, every good thing that I say, it's like Sunday before I preach, it's like, man, you get to preach. I was like, no, I hope not, because if I preach, I'll mess it up. But if he preaches through me, oh, we're going to be in for something good. Right? And that's part of the secret. So again, make sure if you haven't gotten your copy, make sure you get your copy, my friend. Mentalselfdefense.org or themmamabook.com. Get that mental self-defense. I'd love, again, to be your financial sensei, be your financial mentor, and help you to beat those 7 bullies in your brain. Hey, this is Dr. Stan Harris, known as Dr. Breakthrough. I always give a disclaimer. I can't provide a breakthrough. I just prescribe the breakthrough. But when you follow the breakthrough prescription, God Almighty provides a breakthrough you desire and deserve. I believe in you. It's breakthrough time.